What would it mean to think reconciliation and reconciliation studies as precisely that project of study, that as it does its work, its completion is precisely the negation of that project of study? Reconciliation can only be that kind of project of study that finally negates itself, because it takes as its object of study what would it mean to dismantle the very conditions that make reconciliation as a project necessary. All I'm trying to say is this: what would reconciliation mean, reconciliation as a mode of study, mean if its object was not so much reconciliation, and here's where I'm going to push you a little bit, Peter, maybe not even so much liberation. In the version that I've had here, the last paragraph, or maybe the penultimate paragraph, you talk about reparations, right? A certain kind of echo to Ta-Nehisi Coates. And so maybe I'm going to push back at Ta-Nehisi too, which I won't go down there right now, but I'm going to push at him too. Maybe the project isn't reconciliation, maybe it's not even reparations, because how do you repair what is unrepairable? How do you restore what was lost for the faces at the bottom of the Atlantic? What does reconciliation mean for them? So then maybe the horizon of the project is neither reconciliation nor even reparations, not because reparations is bad, but because it will always be incomplete. So maybe the horizon of the project has to be what I would call abolition. And here I'm thinking abolition in a very distinct way. I don't even mean abolition in the way in which William Garrison, to Frederick Douglass's compatriot, meant abolition. Because for him, abolition was a project of white saviorism. His wasn't a project of the organization. I'm down with organization. His wasn't even a project of organizing. I'm down with organizing. His was a project of the organizer. And I'm not so much down with the project of an organizer. Because the project of the organizer is the project of the sovereign again, or what you call the white messiah complex. Jesus was the kind of savior that disavowed needing to be the savior. Right? I'm just thinking about Matthew 25, right? Where Jesus says, when did you see me, when the people he's speaking with says, when did we see you hungry? When did we see you in prison? Etc., etc. He says, inasmuch as you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. What kind of savior is that, where his identity, shall we say, is, ventriloquized, it's thrown out into the least of these? So to look at Jesus, you have to look at the least of these. So what kind of savior is this? This is a savior who does not aggregate being the savior to himself. He doesn't own what it means to be a savior. This is a savior who shares what it means to be a savior. And then tries to imagine a world organized in such a way that is not organized around the central figure. You see what I'm trying to get at? And so what would it mean then to think the object of study, reconciliation studies? What is the object of study? What if the object of study is the practice, what I would call the theory and the practice, or the practicing of the theory of abolitionism? What if Jesus is the abolitionist?